I'm very happy to be here with invitation from the Samskrita Bharati, with whom I'm closely associated. I have given talks. Samskrita Bharati, which is, I believe it started in Bangalore, if I remember right, with Mr. Krishna Shastri, and also with MIT, with whom I have had a fairly long-standing association, especially when I was at Kent State. Incidentally, I was never a professor at Indiana University. I was a graduate student, although I did teach there. I was with the Lockheed Aerospace Corporation on contract to NASA, and throughout my stay in Houston, I was associated with the NASA Johnson Space Center and also to JPL. It was a very exciting time because that was when major things were happening both in computer science and also in image processing, which was my special area. And many things that we then thought were research problems, we see them implemented much more efficiently in today's digital cameras. And even some of the things that we present here would not be possible but for the pioneering work done at JPL. And with MIT, I was associated with the Project Mac through Paul Wong and Joel Moses, and this was in the late 70s. And it gives me very great pleasure to be here and speak to you. The main thing, a point I would like to emphasize here is I'm approaching it from the point of view of a scientist, both in my approach and in the kind of data that I'm looking at. So essentially, as I point out, may I have the next slide, please? So let me provide some background. There are always differences of opinion. I'm sure they will be clear. So first, who are the Harrapans? Harrapans are known by their archaeology, spread over more than 1 million square, it should have been 6 million square kilometers, but that's all right. I mean, now, they seem to be expanding more and more. We seem to be finding more and more sites both in West Asia and, although not really established sites south of the Narmada River, but we are finding more in Gujarat area, in the west coast. And the word Harappan comes from the earliest, one of the two earliest sites excavated. One was Harappa and the other was Mohenjo-daro. These are very well known. They cover a greater expanse in ancient Egypt and Mesopotamia combined. Major sites include Harappa, which gives it the name Harappan, which is unfortunate and inaccurate, but it's convenient because we can use it both as an adjective and as a thing. I include Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, which are now in, Harappa is in Punjab near Lahore, and Mohenjo-daro in Sindh. And Lothal, which is in Gujarat, which is one of the oldest harbors, and Dholavira, which is also in Gujarat, in the Ran of Kutch, and Kalibangan in Rajasthan. So these are the sites on the Indian side of the border. And again, it doesn't make sense to draw a distinction between Indian and Pakistani sites or anything of that sort, because some people have tried to make it. These modern political divisions, the political boundaries keep changing. But historical and what you would call environmental boundaries are much more significant. Next one, please. Next, please. Yeah. Oh, okay. Harappan have left behind a vast network of settlement, which have yielded many artifacts, including we have about 4,000 or more seats. The exact number is unknown. Portfolio has brought out 2 volumes of photographs of the various seats in particular, and an artifact with both images and what we believe to be the writing. And I know one of the members of the audience here, Professor Bitzer of Harvard, disputes that they contain writing at all, but that will not be the topic of discussion here today. The language of the Harappan has been assumed to be non-Sanskritic, and their culture unrelated to the Vedas. So essentially, there is a division of those who believe that Harappans and Vedic are part of the same civilizational spectrum, and those who believe that the Vedic people came later, and by the time initially it was believed that the Harappans had been The Harappan civilization had been destroyed by the invading Aryans, or the Aryans, the famous or the infamous, depending upon your perspective, the Aryan invasion theory. These days, the Aryan invasion theory is not asserted. It is said that there were several layers of migration, by which time the Harappan civilization had gone into decline, if not had totally disintegrated. And the culture is believed to be unrelated to the Vedas. Next, please. Thank you. Harappan geography can be found as far north as Turkestan and as far west as Bahrain, going by the seals that have been found, and more than a dozen Harappan seals with writing and Harappan images have been found in Bahrain, okay, in that area. I don't know the exact location of it. Next, please. Though called the Indus Valley Civilization by John Marshall and his associates, that the name has stuck, although increasingly the word Harappan is used instead of the Indus Valley. The majority of Harappan sites lie well to the east of the Indus. This is now recognized as being the course of the now dry Saraswati River. We find a concentration of sites along the course of the now dry Saraswati River. The drying of the Saraswati is connected. It was not exactly the cause. Let me expand on that. Was part of the decline, the ecological decline of the whole region that led to the Harappan civilization, decline of the Harappan civilization. Next, please. So you will see this is a very well-known map produced by Mark Kinoya, and you will find this is the Indus, of course, and this is the Saraswati course. So, there is out of focus. No, we can't do anything about it. Okay, anyway, you can see the this. Okay. Next one, please. And this is the satellite map that we have for the Saraswati River. This was a NASA satellite map. We have other maps also from the Indian ISRO, which is the Indian Science Research Organization, that I will show in a little while. In fact, we have a video of that, which I will show shortly. The next one, please. So the Saraswati is also important in the Rigveda, because it can be said that the Saraswati River was in many ways the sustainer. At least it was a very important river in the Rigveda. So it should say, this should be an I here, Ambitame, obviously there is some computer, yeah, okay. There's a minor font problem. It's not crucial. The Rigveda lauds the Saraswati as the greatest river, the greatest mother, and the greatest goddess. Okay. Naditame, Ambitame, Devitame. This is widely known. And for those who are interested in studying more about the history of the Saraswati exploration, I would recommend, now Michael Janino has come out with a book. I have not seen it, so I cannot say anything about it. But the Geological Society of India has a collection of articles about the Vedic Saraswati in northwestern India. Okay? It describes the Saraswati as flowing from the mountains to the sea. That is Giribhya Asamudra. This should be an A, that is to the Samudra. Okay? So from the mountains to the sea. So today there is no such river. Next, please.